Morning,
Morning.
and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Midland. This is our online service. I'm Amy Rogers, and that is Maple. If you haven't already, please type into the chat box that you are here and who you have brought with you today. Unitarian Universalism is a welcoming and inclusive religion. It encourages us to keep open hearts and minds because our own experience, conscience, and reason, are the final authorities in religion. It affirms the inherent worth and dignity of every individual and that we are all connected to each other and to the earth. If you're visiting us today, a special welcome to you. We appreciate you spending your time with us. If you have any questions, please let us know in the chat box. If you've been attending for some time and have come to feel that this might be your church or fellowship home, and you are considering becoming a member, please contact a member of the welcome team or let us know of your interest in the chat box and someone will contact you. If you have a chalice or a candle at home, it would be, and you'd like to join us in lighting remotely today, it would be a good time to get that ready right now. We will be including joys and sorrows this morning as we normally do during our services. You will want to find the participant icon to raise your hand like that. All of our services are recorded, but we do not record joys and concerns, so your issues will remain with us. We have announcements. Boy, do we have announcements. Next week's service will be Best Fiction Ever, led by Sarah Nusswarren. Sarah talks about how fiction and science fiction have influenced her spirituality. Our minister, Eric Severson, will be away in July and August. If you have a pastoral care emergency, please contact Gisela Bailey. If you have other needs or concerns, please contact Shannon Sonoris or Beth Sperry. Our minister, Eric Severson, will be holding a final virtual tea session via Zoom on Tuesday. That's this Tuesday at 10 a.m. If you would prefer to schedule a private conversation, make a request via Facebook. For everyone's safety, the fellowship building is closed to everyone except staff, Sunday musicians, Vicki Rothar, and Pete Carlson. To ensure that the most vulnerable are not put at risk, new locks were placed on the entrance door. Sandy will communicate to those who will need a key when one will be available. Please contact Sandy Hay if you have any questions. The 2019-2020 Religious Education Program year is completed, and thank you, Heather. Sunday religious education classes will resume in the fall. For the summer, we will be holding a weekly virtual camp, Wednesdays at 11 in July. Our first activity will be July 1st from 11 a.m., to 1:30 p.m., and we're making handprints. Cool. We've been planning to put handprints on the white brick flower tower, and the time has come. Heather and Vicki will be at the fellowship to help place one handprint per person on the flower tower. Email Heather to schedule a time. The week's activity will be handed out when you come. Our first Zoom call will be on July 8th at 11 a.m. The worship team is looking for volunteers to help produce the service. We need people to help fill the following roles. If we can get 6 for each role, each person will only need to serve twice per quarter. Please contact Sarah at nusswarren@gmail.com or Wendy at office@uufom.org if you're interested. We're looking for a video editor who takes the recordings of the service, edits, and posts to the YouTube. We're looking for a participant moderator, admit participants to worship, welcome attendees, and manage muting to avoid background noise. A slides moderator. Go between slides and speakers for the best visual experience. Document editor. Create slides and scripts for materials provided by the speaker or minister. Participant monitor. You had no idea there were that many people involved in this, did you? Admit participants to worship, welcome attendees, and manage muting, again, to avoid background noise. Document editor, create slides and scripts from materials provided by speaker minister. We will now take a moment to light our chalice. With lots of pictures. If you have a candle or a chalice at home and would like to light right now, please do so. This morning, we light our chalice to bring light to our sometimes public but often private poetry. We express ourselves in vignettes of beauty, in words and acts both simple and complex, each day resurrecting our hope and faith in the commonplace and the beautiful. Our opening words today are Tangled by Dawnstar Saris Borchelt. Knit 6, purl 6, 2 sets of 2 rows, 4 rows, 6 rows, excuse me, up to 12 patterns, repeating steady, soothingly the same. This is not what life is like. Life is like picking up a tousled hunk of yarn pulled out of the basket by an impatient child looking for a string too many times. You find an end. You follow the thread for a while, and sooner or later, you hit a tangle. Knots and twists and loops all mixed up together. Sometimes I sit there and untangle it, pulling little by little until I have one piece stretched out and I can go on to the next one. Sometimes I grab a pair of scissors and cut. Enough, I only need a little anyway. But sometimes I hold the tangle in my hand, amazed for a moment at the complexity, at the mess. I look at it and think, this cannot be solved. It just is. There are patterns, connections, confusing ones, frustrating ones, the thread turning back on itself as life often does. The tangled things will always be there. In this moment I am living through right now, whatever comes after. Even if I work through this, even if I cut the cord and walk away. Our opening hymn, There Is More Love Somewhere, will be sung by Melanie Rillison. Please, if you would like to join us in singing, turn your mute on, or we'll have chaos.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
That was beautiful, Melanie. Of course, it always is. Right now, we have a story for all ages. So if you're a little person, come on down. If you're a big person, I think you might enjoy this. Our story today is When You Are Brave by Pat Zietlow Miller. The illustrations are by Eliza Wheeler. Some days, when everything around you seems scary, you have to be brave. Brave is a bird that steps from its nest, hoping to soar through the sky. Brave is a dog that wanders for miles, searching for one well-known door. Brave is a caterpillar that builds a bed, wondering when it will wake up. Because some days are full of things you would rather not do. Like plunging into a pool all by yourself, hoping that you will swim and not sink. Or standing alone in front of a crowd, searching for one friendly face. Or boarding the bus and riding to school, wondering what's going to happen. At times like these, the world can seem too much, too loud, too hard, just too much. While you feel too small, too quiet, too tired, just not enough. On those days, look deep inside to find the courage you need. It might be hidden away, but if you close your eyes and breathe, you'll see it, shining its little light in the dark. It might be small, it might be, but it's there, warm, steady, and safe. Picture it in your mind. Then imagine it becoming bigger and bolder. You can make your courage so big it brightens your heart and fills your fingers and flows into your toes. Think about what you're good at, something you love, or someone who loves you. But no one else will see it. You'll know that you glow. And you'll know that you're ready, no matter how deep the water is, how loud the crowd is, how hard the ride, or how much there is to do. You might struggle, you might succeed. People might clap, or laugh, or not notice at all. No matter what happens, you'll be all right. Because once you find your courage, it's easy to use again and again. The next time life seems scary, or you start something new, you can remember when you were brave. And then you can stand straight and walk tall, knowing that you are as brave as a bird, as a dog, as a caterpillar. You are as brave as you. And that's all. I invite you to center yourselves and enter into a time of reflection. Today's meditation is entitled Choose to Bless the World by Rebecca Parker. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting, and any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure the holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love? You must answer this question. What will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, more than a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery can abide. Together, there is another possibility waiting. We have a brief reading today, a short poem, pronoun we. We are the real Walking Dead, soft-faced and silver-haired, eyes peering through wrinkles and past the mask, some hunched over and many smiling, moving at a slow hustle. One cough and we might be dead. A single slip-up and we could lie gasping an end to our long and fascinating lives on an isolated rack. No one near us, no tears, no goodbyes, no stories or hands held in love. We are enraged, but it's not like us to let you know. We are terrified, but we manage well. We face our boxed-in death standing up. You can't see what's inside the mask. As we move into our heaven portion of today's service, we have Peaceful Evening by Claude Debussy, played for us today by Melanie Willison. Thank you, Melanie. That was beautiful as usual. We are blessed today. We have Ray Lucina here. And he will be reading one of his poems. I tried to talk him into reading two, but no. Poor Billy, he'll never get out of the hospital bed. He will be reading Out of Caution, Abundance.
And I'm reading this from my screen, so if something goes awry with my Google Docs, I apologize. I'll have to mess with it quickly. So out of caution, abundance. You live in days like some old movie starring Charlton Heston, you damn dirty ape, and you peek out the curtains every day a little more surprised the risen dead don't stalk the streets. Maniacs in leather don't ride monster truck steeds in search of gas, and gas is cheap, but there's nowhere to go. So you lay out Monopoly, you give the kitchen another good clean, you lift your phone and read this poem, grunt your distaste, scroll on. And if it all feels a little fruitless, because there was no fruit the last time you shopped, as your hair grows shaggy, as your pajamas wear thin, think of yourself like this, if it helps. Think of yourself as a vector victor. And each day you're holed up from the empty streets, fugitive from the day-to-day, is a day you don't catch sick, a day you don't shed sick. And maybe you'd be fine, I pray that you'd be fine, but maybe where you would go, death would trail behind. From this caution, abundance flows. The mother saved, the father saved, the generations blossoming from them saved, the cure for cancer saved maybe, the world's perfect poem saved maybe, the woman who rushes back into the fire to save a baby, a grandmother, a cat saved, the man who settles on the park bench in dappled sun, breathes deep, and watches a cardinal fly saved. And in this silence, in this pause, you perhaps with a breath, with a pen, with a late night talk after the kids have finally slept, you can just maybe rediscover the who you are without the busy. You can rediscover maybe your heart and where it directs you. And if you follow, sitting in your backyard, in your kitchen, in the tiny corner you've made for prayer, if you follow where it leads, you'll maybe just find fervent and fertile and green, green, green abundance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I love your stuff. Jim Chrisman has requested some single lines of poetry on the Summer of 2020 theme, and he has knit them into a poem.
Let's see.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I suddenly have a little box in front. Okay. Can you all hear me? Working. This is a crowdsourced poem. There's a few ways to do this. I don't know if any of you have ever sat in the reception area of a large hotel or on a restaurant terrace where you could eavesdrop on other conversations and pick up lines. That's another way to do this. In this case, I asked for contributions from all of you, and I got a few, and I added a few lines of my own and things I've heard you say, and just put it into a very short poem. So it's just called Crowdsourced Poem. They're marching for racial justice where a KKK rally took place in 1996. I had sort of a meltdown this week. Dam failure is imminent. I cannot share my family's grief. There is joy at seeing their faces on Zoom. Networks are largely intact, but the hub is destroyed. I think it's just allergies. I'm getting back on track. I hope we learn from this. Might as well take my time. What else can I do? Stuck on an emotional Ferris wheel. All right, this next one, Melanie and I have worked on together. Poetry comes in many styles, that was one. And, some there's formal meter and rhyme schemes like limericks and sonnets, which emotionally have quite a range, to say the least. Some is extremely informal, like the rhyming couplets you might see on a bathroom wall. And then there's free-form wordplay, which to me is often completely inscrutable. And And there are lyrical poems and there are narrative poems. This poem is in that last easy to understand category, I think. Essentially personal reportage, or as Tom Waits, I don't know if there's Tom Waits fans out there, as Tom Waits might call it, kind of an emotional weather report. Melanie read it and immediately had a classic piece jump into her wonderful musical mind. Alexander Cherupin's Bagatelle, Opus 5, number 1. And she's cut the piece to mix it into my poem. I just love what she's done and hope you like the way the music and poetry work together as much as I do. This is called Summer of 20. You can spot them, hollow-eyed masks, their mouths giving nothing away, soldiering on. We want to tell them it'll be okay, but house in ruins, broke, maybe a beloved uncle on a respirator, maybe it won't. We will never be the same. Then we all see another black man suffocated by a cop, leisurely, nonchalant, knee on the man's neck, hands in his freaking pocket, showing the rookies how easily it's done. The murder goes viral, another virus, and America hits the streets again. The world joins us, and we hope it will never be the same. And Captain Bonespurs calls up the military, checks out the White House bunkers, just in case, because Canada is keeping Americans out. Nobody says it could be worse. Locked down, masked, PTSD when it rains. Every day, fresh hints of fascism from a man who's never read a book and wants to cut the World Health Organization in the middle of a pandemic. And still, we joke about the next plague, because what else can we do? Will it be locusts, frogs, boils? We already have greenhouse gases, racist, failing dams, and a virus that wears a crown. The Orange Vulgarian says it will all magically go away. Says it wasn't tear gas. Says this is a great day for George Floyd. Says Big Floyd is looking down on us now, smiling, because the stock market has momentarily resurrected itself on bad information. We hold back the urge to vomit or to scream, and we wait and wait and wait for November and hope and hope and hope that it will never, ever be the same. Then we walk outside, where the sun is brilliant today, and there are all those things you never had time to do. And lady slippers bloom in the forest, as they always have as the trilliums fade, and the smell of new-mown hay delights our noses as cottonwood fluff floats on a breeze, glinting above the drying meadows. And a great blue heron fishes, still, silent, and the wrens bring bugs to their babies, while a fat bullfrog licks bugs from the air and plays his one-note bassoon with authority. And we tend our gardens with never-before thoroughness, our attention full, our skins salty. We talk to the tomatoes, mulch them, cage them, name them, plot to defend the strawberries from a plague of chipmunks. Or we drag soggy carpets to the curb, and a masked neighbor whose name we've never known before says, "Hey, can I help you with that?" And we pray that some things will never change. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim and Melanie. That will be remembered. Think for a minute. What do you do to build peace inside yourself? What could you do that you have not yet dared to do? What is your poetry? Are there couplets in your garden? Does your special spaghetti sauce remind you of something? What is your secret poem to life? I promised everybody that I wouldn't ad-lib, but I'm gonna anyway. That was an amazing piece, you two. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for presenting it. And I'm sure everyone else pretty much feels the same way, eh? We now are going to segue neatly into the offertory. We affirm the work of this fellowship and its mission through our financial contributions. We continue to rely on you paying your pledges and providing what you could otherwise drop in the collection plate. While our in-person activities may be suspended, our staff continue working hard to provide the services we need. They and the bills still need to be paid. Please give as generously as you can, and may what you give bring you joy. Please take this time to write a check if you wish and mail it to the fellowship at 6220 Jefferson Avenue, Midland, 48640. Or to donate online, please stay after the service for instructions. Another option is to set up a bank auto pay, which can be arranged by talking to our treasurer, Vicki Rothar, for the UUFOM checking account number, and then having your bank set up a regular payment from your account. Thank you for your generosity as we hear Jazz Alleluia played by Melanie. Thanks, Melanie. That was beautiful. We extinguish our chalice to the words of Amy Zucker. Never has it been more true than now. We extinguish this flame, but the sparks within us will remain alight. In our benediction, may you be safe, may you be well, may you be healed and held as you heal and hold others. May you know you are loved, and may you find time and space to let your own poetry bloom.
First, why don't we, with your mics muted, please join Melanie in singing our closing hymn.
Oh,
Your life.
yeah, that's an
As a
excellent
song.
idea. I think we should do that.
Melanie will play through the song once before we start.
We will be singing May Your Life Be as a Song by Jim Scott.
Thank you, Wendy. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing with the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing with the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night.
Jim has a few words to say to us.
I want to thank everybody for everything they contributed to this service today. I had no idea how much work it is to do a service on Zoom. And especially to Vicki Rothar for saving the internet. Al Gore invented it, but Vicki saved it. Yeah. And I just want to say, whatever you might encounter in the coming week, please know that the love of this community goes with you. We'll move into breakout rooms now for our virtual coffee hour. I've been drinking coffee through this whole thing. Thank God there's been breaks. Thank you again. If you can stay to chat, that's great. If you need to go, we understand. We are together again. Until we're together again, many blessings. And I'd also say, stop every once in a while and write down what you're hearing, either in your head or hearing other people say. If something seems particularly interesting or strikes you, just write it down and put those things together, and pretty soon you might have a poem. Some of them come out of your head, and some of them will come out of other people's mouths, and some of them will come through your eyes. There's many ways to sense what's worth putting on paper. So just go do that. And thanks very much. Talk to you soon.
Amen.